Hello and welcome to Coffee Chats with Denise. I'm Denise Dealwoud and I am so glad that you've joined me today. Whether this is your very first coffee chat or you've been here from the beginning, go and grab yourself a coffee, settle in for a while, and let's have a conversation. Every week we talk about the things that make us stop and think. Not because we have all the answers, because I've discovered that some of the biggest shifts in our lives begin with a single honest conversation. Yeah? So, what are we chatting about today? Well, I recently found myself sitting with a cup of coffee the other morning looking out the window, and a question popped into my head. You know how these things just suddenly go boop, and you go, oh, where did that come from? It wasn't planned, it wasn't profound, it just arrived. And that question was, is this the life I imagined I'd be living right now? And it wasn't in a sad way or a regretful way or looking back kind of way. It was just a genuine question. And I wondered how many women have also asked themselves exactly the same thing. We get to a certain stage in our life and we go, is this how I imagined my life to be? You know, when we're young, we have a picture in our minds of how our life is going to unfold. It might not be detailed, but it's there. We have a plan. We know where we're heading. You know, we imagine growing older with the person we love, watching as our children grow up, joining family gatherings, the holidays, retirement, grandchildren, maybe a little travel, a quieter life. Whatever our picture looked like, most of us had one. The white picket fence, maybe, if that was your thing. But what we do not imagine for one moment is the phone call that changes everything, or the relationship ending, losing someone we love, watching a business disappear, family relationships changing, maybe health changing. What we don't imagine is life taking a completely different direction. Nobody sits with us in our 20s and says, one day I'll be rebuilding my life from scratch. Yet, here you are. Not all for the same reasons. Not all for the same reasons. But many of us have found ourselves standing in a life that we never expected to be living. I didn't. One of the things I've noticed over the years, both in my own life and through working with women, is that we spend a lot of time trying to get back to the life we thought we were supposed to have. And I get that. I understand it. I did it myself. You compare today, where you are right now, with what you expected it to look like and to be. You compare your today with the life everyone else seems to have on the outside, yeah? You compare your today with the life you used to have. But here's the thing. Comparison has a funny way of convincing us that we've somehow failed and we've fallen behind. We did something wrong. Boy, do I remember that after my husband died. Yeah, after Martin passed away, people would often say, don't worry, it's going to take time. I know you're in shock now, but you'll find your new normal. Have you ever noticed how strange that phrase is? Your new normal? What is a new normal? I hated that phrase. Yeah, at that time, I didn't even know what that meant. What is my new normal? I wasn't looking for a new normal. I wanted my old life back. I wanted my yesterday back. I wanted my certainty back. I wanted the future that I had imagined. But life doesn't always offer us that choice. sometimes the only choice we have is what to do next. And that took me quite a while to understand. And for my clients as well. We all just want to go back to our life the way it was, don't we? But we can't do that. We have to move forward. And I really think, having worked with so many women over the last 15 years, or over 15 years now, one of the hardest things about major change isn't that event itself. It's not the divorce. It's not the family estrangement. It's not the death of a loved one. It's the identity that quietly disappears with it. It's your identity. Who are you now without? And nobody prepares us for that. We are not prepared for that. Because when you've spent years and years and years of being someone's wife, or a mum, or a business owner, a caregiver, or the person that everyone relies on, these become your roles, becomes your identity, and they are all so familiar. Yeah? Becomes comfortable. Then like that, life changes. And suddenly you're left thinking and wondering, who am I now? I remember sitting on the floor in tears after Martin passed away one day and thinking, Denise, who are you now? Who am I now? And that is not a selfish question. It is one of the most honest questions that you can ever ask yourself. Something else occurred to me while I was thinking about this. We often talk about people rebuilding after difficult times. Boy, I hear that phrase all the time, and I'm sure you have as well. Rebuild your life, start again, create a new chapter. And while I understand what people mean, to be honest with you, I've never really liked these words. Why? Because they make it sound as though you're trying to recreate something that used to exist. What if that's not the goal? What if the goal is not rebuilding the old life? What if your goal is creating a life that fits the woman you've become now? Those are two completely different conversations. Because the event, whatever it was, changed you. You know, when I look back now, there are things in my life today that the younger Denise could never have imagined, ever. I could never have imagined living where I am now, or running my own business, or even talking with women all over the world, recording coffee chats, having deep and meaningful conversations that matter. None of that was my original plan. Not one part of it. If you told me 30 years ago that this would be my life, I would have smiled and politely thought, you got the wrong person. That's not me. And yet, here I am. Life didn't follow my plan. But it doesn't automatically mean that it's a wrong life. I'm not living a wrong life. I'm living the life I'm meant to be for the woman I became after I became a widow. Does that make sense? And that thought really gave me a lot of comfort. Are you experiencing something similar? Just a thought. Think about it. Maybe your life looks nothing like you ever imagined. It could look better. It could be harder. Or maybe it's even both. You see, life has a way of holding joy and heartbreak at the same time. We can miss what we've lost and still be grateful for what we have. Yep. Those two things can exist together. And I think we sometimes forget. One of the women I work with said to me something I'll never forget. One of my clients, Jenny. Jenny said to me, I kept waiting for my old life to come back. Her husband had had an affair, really messy affair. And she said, I sat there on the deck waiting for my old life to come back, that he would realize he was wrong. And then she stopped and smiled and she looked at me and she said, that's when I realized my old life was not coming back. And that was enough. That was the day I started living again. You see, we have to draw a line in the sand and know that we can't go back. I hear it so often. I did it. That was our comfort zone. That's what we knew. That was the life we created. That was the life we planned. And then we have a curveball thrown in, whatever your curveball is. And I've thought about that conversation so many times. Because here's the thing, acceptance isn't giving up. Acceptance is seeing life as it is. Not what we hope it to be, not what we want it to be, but as it is. So instead of spending all our energy wishing it were different, see your life as it is. What is the reality of your life? What is the reality of where you are right now? And there's so much freedom in that. And that's not because suddenly everything becomes easy. Oh, okay, this is where I am, I accept it. It's because you stop fighting your reality. What is your reality right now? And I really think that's why my program and my whole business and everything is becoming whole. Becoming whole doesn't mean that you're becoming perfect and everything's perfect. It really doesn't. Man, life is messy. People are still going to disappoint us. Plans are still going to change. Our hearts are still going to get broken. We're still going to have days where we wonder what on earth we're doing. Boy, do I have so many of them. What am I doing? Why? You see, becoming whole isn't about escaping life. It's about learning to live fully inside the life you actually have and are blessed to have. Not the one that you lost, not the one that you imagined. The one that's right in front of you today, right now. So let me ask you something to think about this week. I don't want you to fix it. It's not another thing to add to your list. Just something to sit with. If someone met you today, not knowing anything about you, or about your past, about your losses, about your disappointments, what would they see? Would they see someone who is still waiting for life to begin? Would they see someone that's a victim of their past? Wishing, hoping, waiting for something to change? Or would they see a woman who is slowly, quietly creating a life that feels like her own? Stepping into her own power, stepping into her own beliefs. That's a very different question, isn't it? Hugely different. I really don't think it's ever too late to create a meaningful life, regardless of your age. Not because it's easy. Not because positive thinking changes everything. Please, I don't believe in positive thinking, just positive thinking. Yes, we've got to be positive and we've got to have a good outlook and a good mindset. I do agree with that. But it goes a lot deeper than positive thinking. Because every single day you're making choices. Every day you're making small decisions. Things like who you spend time with, what you say yes to, what you say no to, how you speak to yourself. Are you hard on yourself? Do you speak badly to yourself? Do you criticize yourself? Every day, where are you putting your energy? These are the choices that you make little by little. And those choices and decisions become your life. You see, today is creating your tomorrow. It's so profound. When I heard that for the first time, that my today is creating my tomorrow, my today didn't create yesterday, but yesterday created my today. Think about that. So perhaps the question isn't, is this the life I imagined? Maybe the better question is, what do I want to create from here? Because the question fills you with endless possibilities. What do I want to create from here? And I think possibility is something every woman deserves, no matter what has happened before. We cannot change our past as much as what we'd love to. We cannot change what happened to us. We cannot change that one moment in time when our whole life turned upside down. But we can make a choice to create a new future. I'd love to know your thoughts. Has your life turned out the way you imagined? Or has it taken you somewhere completely unexpected? Leave me a comment below. I read every one of the comments. And I absolutely, genuinely love hearing your stories. Because they remind us we're never alone as we think we are. We think we're the only ones going through this. No. So if you enjoyed our coffee chat today, I'd love you to subscribe and join me next week. Until then, please take good care of yourself and remember, your life doesn't have to look the way you once imagined. It really doesn't. Live your life today and truly love your life. And I'll see you next week.